And autopilot's coming out.
V1. Rotate.
So the weather at destination Munich, the temperature is 2 degrees, the dew point is -3, surface winds are out of the northeast at 7 knots, good visibility, cav okay, no clouds, and the QNH is 9er 5. Having a look over at the airport information, we've got a set of parallel runways. They are 0826s, so the wind's coming at 070. We are planning an arrival for 08 left. Parking probably around apron Terminal 2, Terminal 3, around here somewhere, which will basically shorten our taxi back to the stand, vacate either Alpha 10 or Alpha 12, and then mic down to one of the entry points. As for the star, the final waypoint in our flight plan is Anora, which we must be at 250 or above, and then we'll be following that in, which is the Anora 2 Alpha, down to a VOR named Mike. Sorry, it's an NDB named Mike, which is on 426. So our transition to final will be from Mike. We will be following the, basically just plugging it into the FMS, which will have all of this hard-coded. We'll plug in the VOR of Walda, and then just to cross-check that with a couple of radials. And then our ILS course is 082, and the ILS localizer frequency is 109.5. Our minimums for Category 1, which is what we're going to be setting up for, are 1625 on the Barrow. So, back in the flight deck, I've already set the nav radios, so we've got the ILS frequency on nav 2, and on nav 1 we've got Walda, the Walda VOR, with a course of 137, which should be sort of like our base leg as we come off of the MIQ or Mike NDB. So that should be kind of our last, kind of like a base leg before we turn to final. So that's in. We will pull up both of the FMCs and the ND on my side. So we're going to a place called Anora, and from there we're planning the ILS 8 left with the Anora 2 Alpha for 08 and the MIQ transition. So if we step through the legs, we can see that, remember Anora was 250, or was it below or above? Either way, we've got that there. I'll check the charts before we hit top of descent. Then we've got Zirum, then Buram, and then over to a place called Rokil. Then we've got the NDB, and then we've got the procedure to final. So what I've done after the NDB is, maybe if I zoom out a little bit, there's the Waldo. Actually, you know what? We can put that in as a fix as well. So I'm going to go ahead and execute this. We're coming off the NDB and then kind of making our sweeping right and then 2 lefts. But what I can do is WLD, so Whiskey Lima Delta. is that NDB. Is that VOR rather, and it's on 112.8. So if we put that in for situational awareness, doesn't oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so cool. So we've got that now, and that is just about near Rokel, and everything looks good on that. The missed approach procedure is to climb straight ahead till about 1 DME, then make a left turn back to the Mike NDB to hold there on an inbound course of 082. So we'll kind of snake it around like this and then figure out whatever's going on. The mins have been set. Took a little bit while of scrolling, but they are in, so 625. We've got a whole bunch of traffic around us at the moment, nothing to be concerned about, however. And our progress page says we should be arriving at the field in about 45 minutes or so. Welcome back to the flight deck. We just passed the Walda VOR there. We are inbound Rokel, and then the Mike NDB. 110 rather for 5,000. The transition altitude, by the way, in Munich is 5,000. So that is, and we've got the standby QNH on 995 already set to go. We are going to turn on the landing lights just a tad early. Oops, not all of them. Just the fixed ones, and here comes the left-hand turn to the Mike NDB. Seatbelt signs were put on quite a long while ago. We can switch the start switches to continuous, also a little bit early. Should be starting to slow here momentarily. Currently speeding along at 240 knots. Go ahead and sync up the heading just in case. The ILS is already identified. It's India Mike November Echo on a course of 082. We are 23 miles out. Passing flight level 100 now. Field should be just to our right. Field should be just to our right somewhere. Let's see if we can spot it. Not currently, unless that's it over there. So our VREF speed, we've got 143 plus 5 is 148. That'll be our approach speed. And you can see now on the ND we've got the Walda VOR with the radial 137, which is what we're going to be following according to the FMC, so all that checks out. Always good to cross-reference your approach data with whatever nav fixes you can find in the area. Currently have a crosswind of about 16 knots. As we make that left turn, it'll turn into a headwind. Now at 6.8 for 5, I'm going to go ahead and select standard, so that we're now on local QNH, which brings us to 9.905 hectopascals. The deceleration has commenced, so we're starting to slow to flaps up speed. I'm going to give that a helping hand with flaps 1. So there's a couple of waypoints where we should be 5,000 or above. The last one is Magat. After that, our final approach fix, we should be at 2,700. So I'm going to leave it at 5,000 for now. And we'll switch down to 2,700 for in a little bit once we pass Magat, which is that waypoint right there. The missed approach is 5,000. So here we are on that sort of base leg, not exactly 90 degrees. Just a little bit below the glide, which is fantastic. Go ahead and arm VOR loc. So I'm cutting the corner here a little bit with the helping hand of heading select. I've also switched to the right-hand side CMD or autopilot, basically ensuring us that because I have nav 2 tuned to the ILS frequency, nav 1 is still at Walda, so nav 2 will now be the master in terms of the VOR loc. Just coming up to 5,000. And loc's alive. A little bit of moisture in the air, and the TAT is indicating below, well, it's actually 4 degrees. I'm going to hold off on the engine anti-ice. We've got loc capture, there's the glide, and come on, capture the glide. You can do it. There we go. We're on the glide, we're on the loc. Gonna bring it down to flaps 5 now. Gonna make my intentions known on Unicom. There's all the shiny switches. Bring it down to VRF speed.
2,500.
That is checked. We are 9.5 miles out. Gears coming out. And with that, we'll take flaps 15. I think those are the pappies up ahead, yep. Flaps 30. Arm the speed brake. And autopilot's coming out. Starting to get a little bit on the low side, a little bit of up trim.
1,000.
The engine's fighting something hard. Drifting a little bit to the right, correcting left. A little bit of down trim. That looks pretty good. I'll take this. Gotta watch the sync rate. There we go. Looking pretty good. Getting a little bit high now. Pitch down just a skosh. Gonna take the throttles.
Minimums.
Landing. Idle the throttles.
20.
And greaser. Reverse coming out. Gently start to slow the aircraft. Probably vacate this next taxiway here on the right. Auto brakes coming out. Next high speed over here on the right. Stow the reversers. Alpha 10. So we missed the Alpha 8, but we got the Alpha 10. And welcome to Munich. Well, that brings it to an end for Flight 490 out of Manchester. Full disclosure, some of the original flight footage was lost, so the taxi-in was actually from 2 separate flights down to Munich. Other than that, I want to thank all of you for watching, and to each and every one of you for being part of a fantastic little community surrounding this channel. That was my original aspiration in starting to document my flights all around Europe, because no matter where you're from, where you fly, or what aircraft you like to operate, this hobby is a special one. I'm off to check out the BMW Museum, Town Hall, Olympia Park, and maybe a beer garden or two. Until next time, I wish you all blue skies, tailwinds, and I'll see you in the next episode.